to sing a bhajan, Ch.Ch or Ra? No.
122?
122.
122.
Mm-hmm.
Nitai pada kamala koti chandra susitala.
Nitai pada kamala koti chandra susitala. Jaya
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Brinda Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Brinda. Reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, Volume 7, which means it contains the chapters of Mahaprabhu's visit to Sri Brindavan. Chapter 18, the Lord's visit to Sri Brindavan. Tahanila stali deki kila Nandeshwara deki preme haila vivala. After visiting the places of Krishna's pastimes at Kamyavan, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Nandeshwara. While there, he was overwhelmed with ecstatic love. So this portion of the chapter is Mahaprabhu's actual visiting to the various holy places of Vrindavan. We've covered the portion where he rediscovers Radhakund and Shyamakund. The original excavation of Radhakund was done by Srimati Radharani herself on Chaitra Purnim, some 5,000 years ago, after the killing of the demon Aristasura. And as Prabhu pointed out, he said, but this can't be recorded in the Bhagavat Purana, it's not in the Bhagavatam, because Radha is not mentioned. But it's in the commentary of the Bhagavatam by Vishwanath Chakravarti, commentary in the 10th canto. That pastime is explained. I was looking into it. There's a very kind of a humorous dialogue between Radha and Krishna, and which forms the setting for the digging of Radhakund and Shyamakund.
Do you remember that?
Well, it's to do with the killing of the Aristasura, who is a bull, and a bull is an emblem of Dharma. So Krishna has killed Aristasura, and Radharani says to him that, oh, you've killed a bull, it's a great sin, now you're going to have to atone by visiting all the holy places, all the tirthas in the universe. And Krishna says, no problem, that's not a big deal, they're all going to come and visit me instead. So, and the idea of visiting a tirtha is that the holy waters, the tirthas of all the holy rivers, the tirtha, the sacred waters of the tirtha rivers. And so Krishna says, oh, bring all those waters to me. And he stamps his foot on the ground, and all the waters appear. And Radharani's doubtful. She's like, oh, you can't trick me that easily. That's with this such a gimmick. Perform some little trick. You think I seriously believe all the tirthas are here. But then a representative of all the holy tirthas, like all the holy rivers, Gandaki, Saraswati, Ganga, Yamuna, etc., comes and he bows before Radharani and he says, no, we are the genuine article. All the rivers are now here. So then Radha desires her own kund and ends up accepting Krishna offers to transfer some of the waters from Shyamakund into Radhakund. And so Radha accepts that offer. And she, with the help of her friends, dig Digya Kund with their bracelets, anklets and bracelets. And that becomes Radhakund. And that was on the Chaitra Purnim. Chaitra Purnim. It's the first month of it's traditionally the first month of the you could say the Vedic calendar or the Hindu calendar. Not the Gaurabda calendar, that starts at Mahaprabhu's birthday, which is Falguni Purnim. The previous month. So it's the full moon after Gaurapanim as the appearance of the original appearance of Radhakund. It's the full moon after Gaurapanim, a month after. But then it's commonly celebrated as Bahulastami. What is an important date in the month that happened on Bahulastami? When did Gurudev take sannyas?
1985.
But what date was it on? Was it Bahulastami? Or am I getting mixed up with that? You don't remember. It's homework for today. Bahulastami. I know Gurudev did initiate someone into sannyas on Bahulastami. I won't say who it is. It wasn't even really sannyas, it was something else. Similar to sannyas.
Babaji.
The intrigue continues. It wasn't Babaji. No. Bahulastami, but did Gurudev himself accept sannyas on Bahulastami day? I have to look it up because it rings a bell. I don't like saying, he accepted sannyas on Bahulastami day and then finding out later that I got it wrong and I said it on camera. Not good. But it's possible, so we'll have to look it up. But Bahulastami is of course the day in Kartik when Mahaprabhu rediscovers Radhakund. So effectively what we have today is 2 birthdays for Radhakund, 2 appearance days for Radhakund. Chaitra Purnim, when Srimati Radharani originally digs the Kund, and Bahulastami, when Mahaprabhu rediscovers the Kund, bathes in it, dances on the shore, puts the clay of the Kund on his forehead, takes a bag of the clay with him. That's Bahulastami. Astami means the 8th day of the lunar month. So I think it's a waxing moon. So it's the 8th day of Kartik, after Kartik begins. No, waning moon would be the waning moon. Kartik begins on Purnim for Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mahaprabhu. So it would be the 8th day of Kartik. Bahulastami. So there's 2 appearance days for Radhakund. So Mahaprabhu has done all of this. And then we had the story of the deity, the Gopal deity on the hill, the Madhavendra Puri's Gopal deity, which today is kind of, you could say, honoured as a deity of the Vallabhacharya Sampradaya. Same as Vittaleshwara. And Gopal is, on the pretext of an Islamic intrusion, he is making himself available to the devotees, Mahaprabhu, and then at a later date to Rupa Goswami and all the devotees of Brindavan. They spend a month at the Vittaleshwara temple in Mathura, where Gopal is also staying. So Mahaprabhu...
You were right. He took sannyas in Bahulastami.
There we go. Thanks for that.
Astami. Bahulastami.
Krishna, yes, it means the waning moon. Yes, great. So Mahaprabhu is continuing to visit the places. Then later in this chapter we're going to have a funny story about an apparition that people see out on the river Yamuna and they mistake it for Krishna dancing on Kaliya. Remember that funny? It's a funny pastime. We'll continue. Pavanari Sabakunde Snana Kariya Lokere Puchila Parvata Upareyana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bathed in all the celebrated lakes, beginning with Lake Pavana. Thereafter, he climbed a hill and spoke to the people. Kichudeva Murti Haya Parvata Upare Lokakahe Murti Haya Goparabitare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked, "Are there any deities on top of this hill?" The local people replied, "There are deities on this hill, but they are located within a cave." Dui dike mata pita pushta kalivara madhye eka shishu haya tribanga sundara. There is a father and a mother with well-built bodies, and between them is a very beautiful child who is curved in 3 places. Shuni Mahaprabhu mane anandapana tinamurti dekila se gopa ughadiya. Hearing this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy. After excavating the cave, he saw the 3 deities. Brajendra Brajeshvarira Kaila Charanavandana Premaveshe Krishnera Kaila Sarvanga Sparshana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered his respects to Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yasoda, and with great ecstatic love he touched the body of Lord Krishna. So those 3 deities are Nanda Maharaj, Yasoda and Krishna. Sabadina Premaveshe Nritya Gita Kaila Tahan Haite Mahaprabhu Kadiravana Aila. Every day the Lord chanted and danced in ecstatic love. Finally he went to Kadiravan. So Prabhupada in his purport says Kadiravan is described in the Bhakti Radhakund. Dekaha Kadiravana Vidita Jagate Vishnu Loka Praptieta Gamana Matrete. Behold the forest named Kadiravan, renowned throughout the universe. If one comes to Kadiravan, he can immediately be elevated to Vishnu Lok. And that's in the Bhakti Ratnakara by Narahari Chakravarti. The Bhakti Ratnakara. It's a fabulous book. It's a book that covers the generation just succeedent to this era of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, just after it. So you have all the stories of the Srinivas, Narottam, Shamananda, the devotees of Brindavan following the disappearance of Mahaprabhu, the pastimes of that generation immediately following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lila stala deki tahan gela shesha sai Lakshmi deki e sloka padina goshani. After seeing the places of Lord Krishna's pastimes, Sri Chaitanya went to Shesha Sai, where he saw Lakshmi and recited the following verse. Yatte sujata charanam buruham staneshu pita shanai priyadid dadhi mahikar kasheshu tena tavim atasitad vyatate nakim svit kurpadibir brahmatidir bavad ayushamna. O dearly beloved, your lotus feet are so soft, and we place them gently on our breasts, feeling that your feet will be hurt. Our life rests only in you. Our minds, therefore, are filled with anxiety that your tender feet might be wounded by pebbles as you roam about on the forest path. Purport: this is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.31.19, spoken by the gopis when Krishna left them in the midst of the Rasa Leela. Gopi Gita. Tabe kela tirtha deke bandiravana aila Yamuna Parahana Badra Vanagela. Afterwards, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Kela Tirtha and then went to Bandiravan. Crossing the Yamuna river, he went to Badravan. Shrivana Deki Puna Gela Lohavana Mahavana Giya Kaila Janmastana Darashana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then visited Shrivan and Lohavan. He then went to Mahavan and saw Gokul, the place of Lord Krishna's early childhood pastimes. Yamalarjuna Bangadi Dekila Se Stala Prema Veshe Prabhu Ramana Haila Talamala. Upon seeing the place where the twin Arjuna trees were broken by Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was moved to great ecstatic love. Of course, is the Damodar pastime. Gokula dekiya aila matura nagare, janmastana dekira he se vipragare. After seeing Gokul, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Mathura, where he saw the birthplace of the Lord. While there, he stayed at the house of the Sanodiya Brahmana. Lokara Sangata Deki Mathura Chadiya Ekante Akrura Tirti Rahila Ashiya. Seeing a great crowd assemble at Mathura, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left and went to Akrura Tirtha. He remained there in a solitary place. Akrura purport. Akrura Tirtha is also mentioned in the Bhakti Ratnakara. Fifth wave. Deka Srinivasa e Akrura Gramete Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Chilena Nibrite. Srinivas, look at this village of Akrura. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed there in a solitary place. Aradina Aila Prabhu Deketi Brindavana Kaliya Hradi Snana Kaila Ara Prashkandana. The next day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Brindavan and took his bath at the Kaliya lake and Prashkandana. Kaliya Hrada is mentioned again in Bhakti Ratnakara, fifth wave. E Kaliya Tirtha Papa Vinashaya, Kaliya Tirtha Stani Bahu Karya Siddhihaya. When one takes a bath in the Kaliya Hrada, he is freed from all sinful activities. One can also be successful in business by bathing in Kaliya Hrada. Dvadasha Aditya Haite Keshi Tirtha Aila Rasa Stali Deki Preme Murchita Haila. After seeing the holy place called Praskandana, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to Dvadashaditya. From there he went to Keshi Tirtha, and when he saw the place where the rasa dance had taken place, he immediately lost consciousness due to ecstatic love. Chaitana Pana Puna Gadagadiyaya Hashikande Nache Pari Uchai Svaregaya. When the Lord regained his senses, he began to roll around on the ground. He would sometimes laugh, cry, dance, and fall down. He would also chant very loudly. E range se dina tata gaunaila sandhya kale akrure ashi bhiksha nirvahila. Being thus transcendently amused, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu passed that day happily at Keshi Tirtha. In the evening he returned to Akrura Tirtha, where he took his meal. Jai Jai Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. We will read our sub-chapter from Revealed Truth by Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. Gurudev has been talking about the relationship between Brahma and Bhagavan. Brahma not to be confused with the creator Brahma, but with Brahman as in the God substance, impersonal, but with form in its Bhagavan Vicha. Divine personality. Vedavyas said, and he's comparing the vision. Often you meet people, Indians, who are familiar with their cultural, their own philosophical background, and they are under the idea that Vedic literature has an impersonal conclusion. Vedic conclusion, Vedanta, the end, the conclusive premise of Vedic literature is that the Supreme is impersonal. That's their idea, that's their misconception, often, because of the teachings of Shankara. So they feel that Shankara is representing Vedic conclusion, Vedanta. Many do not know that Shankara's conception is at odds, in fact, with that of Vedavyas. Vyasa's conception and Shankara's conception, they don't concur. And Gurudev is discussing that relationship. Contrast between those two conceptions here. Of course, Vedavyasa is considered a greater authority than Shankara, even though Shankara is considered Lord Shiva. It's an incarnation of Lord Shiva. Vedavyasa is the ultimate authority on Vedic knowledge. Vedavyasa said, Raso Vaisa, Sa means he, Brahma is he, who is the creator of all, the cause of all causes, who has his own existence, who is fully complete, and who is reality in its fullest form, who is for himself and by himself, as reality the beautiful. This expression of Vedavyasa also summarily dismisses Shankaracharya's Nirvisheshvad. If Brahma is he, then Brahma cannot be Nirakar, Nirvishesh, or Nishakti. That means Nirakar means to have no form, and Nirvishesh means no qualities, and Nishakti means to have no energies, no particular flavors of energies, no variety of energies. Nishakti. He must have form, qualities, and power. We read everywhere that the Lord has eternal form, qualities, and power. He does not have a material form. He does not have a form like the forms we see in this world. He has a transcendental form. In Islam, they do not explain this entirely, but they always pray, by your mercy, Allah, by your mercy, Allah. If the Lord does not have form and power, how can He bestow mercy? The Muslims also say that after death, everyone will be judged by the Lord. If the Lord has no potency and personality, how can He judge everyone? In Christianity, there are many descriptions of heaven. The Lord Himself, His form, His qualities, and so on are not directly described, but He is said to be eternally playing in heaven. Then He must have a transcendental form and qualities. Inconceivable wonders. The transcendental, eternal form of the Lord is aprakrita, supramundane, and is supremely worshipable. But it is no doubt difficult to believe that the Lord's supreme form is that of a young boy named Krishna, whom we can play with and feel joyful by serving. It is an obstacle for some people. They go, oh, I can imagine. Yes, why cannot the Supreme have form? But a blue boy? Really? Of course, God can take whatever form He chooses. Shrutim aparasmritim itare bharatam anye bhajantu bhavabhita aham iha nandam vande yasya linde param brahma. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela 1996. Who will actually believe this must be the verse by... Who would this verse be by? Madhya Leela chapter 19. Where is Mahaprabhu at that time? Anyone?
In Jagannath Puri,
No.
Brindavan.
No.
Sardinia.
No.
Gopal knows.
China.
Chennai.
I don't know.
Russia.
Maybe.
It's in Varanasi. Varanasi. So this is Prayag. Varanasi and Prayag, next door to each other. So this must be the verse by Raghupati Upadhyay. There are a couple of famous verses. The other one is that verse that was sung, Kam prati kataitum ishe, right? When Gurudev was asked to speak at the inauguration of ISKCON's Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir, and Swami Maharaj Prabhupada is there, and Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Maharaj is there. They're sitting together on the Vyasasan, and Gurudev is seated in front of them with speaking, the microphone, speaking to the assembled devotees. The famous picture. We all know that picture. in the mud. We all know that picture.
Mahaprabhu.
No, pay attention, sir. No, in Mayapur, the 1973, when they opened the Chandrodaya Mandir as the inauguration ceremony, and Srila Prabhupada invited Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj as the guest of honor at the ceremony, and Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, came with him, and Guru Maharaj wasn't feeling so well, so he deferred to Govinda Maharaj to speak. And as he was speaking, a photo was taken of...
It's there. It's right there.
We have the photo here at the entrance. It's a famous photo in the mud. And Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj was there as well. He's a senior disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He's one of the only Babaji disciples. Perhaps the only, perhaps there was two, but very few. If not two, just one. Then he was there as well. He was a great famous kirtan singer and leader, and mridanga player. And he later said he was wondering what is Gurudev going to say at this lecture? What a unique, groundbreaking, monumental event, the opening of the Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. Prabhupada is there, Srila Param Gurudev is there, Gurudev is there, all sorts of other dignitaries from the Gaudiya world, at least the ones that were favourable to Srila Prabhupada. And Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj hovering in the background, he's thinking, what is he going to say here? And Gurudev starts a sloka, Kam prati katai tum ishe, which means that sloka is that, who would believe me if I said that the supreme reality, right, the most powerful, the controller of everything, the all-knowing being, is playing in the courtyard of Madhya Yasoda, or playing in the bushes with the gopis, I think. The principle being that, who could understand this concept of God as a playful, sweet boy, Krishna? And Gurudev started his verse like that. And why would he say that? Because it's alluding to the glories of Prabhupada. Who would believe me if I said that Abhay Babu went to the West and started this colossal Krishna consciousness movement? Like, what a miracle it is. How amazing. It's like, who would believe me when I say that Jai Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? If I said that the Supreme Absolute is now a little blue boy playing with the gopis and in the courtyard of Madhya Yasoda. So, what a miracle. And when he heard this, Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj started leaping, going, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, in the background. Because he was so enthused by the fact Gurudev absolutely nailed the precise sloka to suit the occasion. It excited him greatly. So he started leaping around and going, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Kam prati katai tum ishe. So that verse, Kam prati katai tum ishe, was one of two or so, or a few verses, but one of two at least composed. These are original verses composed by Raghupati Upadhyay. Now Mahaprabhu meets Raghupati Upadhyay at Prayag at the house of Vallabhacharya. So he's taken on the boat. He meets Vallabha. He's taken on a boat to Vallabhacharya's house. And this is the Vallabhacharya who has his own sampradaya now. He kind of assumed acharyaship of the Rudra sampradaya. Rudra sampradaya comes from 4 Kumaras, right? Sri, Lakshmi, Brahma. When I want to recall them, they disappear from my mind.
Another homework.
Lakshmi.
I don't remember the first one.
But that are Saivites, right?
Rudra is coming from Lord Shiva.
Yeah, so that are Saivites. And the others are Vaishnavas.
Rudra Sampradaya is coming from Lord Shiva, and Ramanuja from Lakshmi Devi, and and Nimbarka is from the four Kumaras, right? And the Sampradaya we're in is from Brahma Madhva Gaudiya. So Rudra Sampradaya, and the confusion is that the guru of the Rudra Sampradaya is known as Vishnu Swami. Rudra and then Vishnu. But yeah, so Rudra Sampradaya, Lord Shiva. I was thinking four Kumaras, but that's Nimbarka, of course. So he kind of became the Acharya of the Rudra Sampradaya because Vishnu Swami is somewhat a figure lost in history. There's not many details about his life. So the prominent Acharya actually in the Rudra Sampradaya is Vallabhacharya. And he became a Diksha disciple of Gadadhara Pandit Goswami. This was after he first met Mahaprabhu at Prayag. But he takes, anyway, we're getting off on a tangent here, but he takes Mahaprabhu to his house and he has a friend, Raghupati Upadhyay, who Mahaprabhu asked to quote verses in glorification of Krishna. And as Raghupati Upadhyay is quoting these verses, some of which he composed himself, Mahaprabhu descends into an ecstatic trance, into a high ecstasy, displaying all the ecstatic symptoms that are typical of Mahaprabhu's life and Leela. So, Raghupati Upadhyay is a great devotee of Krishna, which is relatively rare actually, even at that time. In that cultural milieu of late medieval India, some 500 and something years ago, there were all sorts of philosophical systems. So devotion to Krishna, Krishna Bhakti, was not necessarily the norm. It was somewhat exceptional, actually. So when Mahaprabhu found it, or those people that Mahaprabhu conversed with on the subject, they're focused on in Chaitanya, that is recorded in Chaitanya Charitamrita. And Mahaprabhu appreciated it greatly, appreciated meeting a devotee of Krishna greatly, wherever he met them. And of course their glorification of Krishna would send Mahaprabhu into cause ecstatic transformations, ecstatic symptoms. So one of these was Raghupati Upadhyay, and he composed 2 slokas, Kam Pratikataitum, that one that we described, and this one here, Shrutim Aparismritim Mitare Bharatam Anye Bhajantu Bhavabhita Aham Iha Nandam Vande Yasya Linde Param Brahma. Who will actually believe that the Supreme Personality of... Right, so the other one was Krishna playing with the gopis. Right, who would believe me if I told them that the Supreme Lord is playing in the bushes with the cowherd girls? And this one is in the courtyard of Mother Yasoda. Who will actually believe that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, plays in the courtyard of his father Nanda Maharaj? So many rishis have done so much research and finally given us this knowledge. They have no intention to cheat us. Vyasadeva has given us this knowledge, this finest consciousness, and he has no intention to cheat us. Whether we believe it or not, it's true. It may be difficult for us to conceive, but still it is true. When we become established in that truth, we will feel complete joy and ecstasy. Krishna's eternal abode and his existence within that abode are no doubt inconceivable for the conditioned souls. How it is that the Lord has unlimited eternal forms like Nrsimhadev, Vamadev, Ramachandra and Krishna is Achintya. How is it that they all exist in an eternal, fully conscious way, full with their own spiritual property, within their own infinite abodes, is also Achintya. How they all exist at once within Paravyoma Dham, the spiritual world, is also Achintya. How Krishna sometimes takes the form of Vasudev, sometimes takes the form of Sankarshan, sometimes takes the forms of Pradumna and Aniruddha is Achintya. How Krishna sometimes shows his Prabhav Vilas and Vaibhav Vilas forms in his different abodes, Dwarka, Mathura and Brindavan, is Achintya. How Krishna can expand his power like a candle that lights thousands of other candles, and how all the candles can shine with his same supreme power, that is Achintya. Anur Aniyan Mahato Mahiyan, how Krishna can be smaller than the smallest and greater than the greatest at the same time, that is Achintya. And how Krishna is always present within all his infinite manifestations simultaneously, all these things are Achintya. Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Srila Guru Dev Ki Jai. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha Gopala Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Bhata Raghunatha Shri Jiva Gopal Bhata Das Raghunatha Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Gadadhara Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govindade Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhade Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai Sri Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai Samaveda Vaishnav Mandala Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai Sri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat West London Ki Jai Hey Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Nitai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bo Hari Bo Sachi Diri Ki Jai Anu Krishna Diri Ki Jai